So today's video is all about hair. In this video, I'll be giving you a background to the stages of hair growth, and I'll also be discussing 3 main types of hair loss. I'll also be covering the factors that affect hair growth, plus what I have seen that can impact hair growth in the patients I've treated over the years. And finally, I often get questions about my own hair, my hair length, is it real? So I'll be sharing with you my own personal experience of my hair growth, my hair journey, including what has and has not worked for me. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then a massive welcome to you. My name is Dr. Baptiste and I work as a portfolio GP. If you are new to my channel, then why not consider subscribing, because I have loads of useful content to support you on your medical career journey. And as always, if you found value in this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up. So before I get into the video, I just want to put it out there that yes, I'm a doctor, and a portion of the video will have some evidence-based information for you. However, I'm not an expert in hair. I haven't done a course in hair. I'm not a hairdresser. And so some of the things I will say will be based on my own personal experience and some of the things that I've learned over the years going to the hair salon. So before I start, to put what I say into context, I need to provide you with a background to the stages of hair growth. And I also need to go through the 3 main types of alopecia or hair loss. So let's talk about the phases of hair growth. The first phase is the anagen phase. So a hair follicle in this phase is in the growing phase, and usually it can last between 2 to 4 or 3 to 5 years. And it can be longer in some cases. Then the hair follicle goes on to a resting phase. But just to point out here that about 90% of the hairs on your head are in the anagen or growing phase. So the next phase is called the catagen phase. Usually this is about 5% of the hairs on your head, and this phase usually lasts for about 10 days. So in this phase, the hair growth slows and the follicle can shrink. So the next phase is the telogen phase, which can be divided into 2 stages. So telogen basically is a resting phase. The hair follicle can be in this stage for about 2 to 4 months. Now the next part is the shedding phase or the exogen phase, which some people do consider to be part of the overall telogen phase. So in this phase, like I said, the hair typically sheds, and it can be assisted by washing and brushing your hair. And this shedding phase can last between 2 to 5 months. Now, the average person loses about 100 hairs a day, but this does depend on your ethnicity, so it can vary greatly. So now I'm going to talk about the 3 most common types of non-scarring alopecia. So alopecia basically means hair loss, complete or partial hair loss. So the first one is alopecia areata, and this is where the immune system attacks the hair follicles. The exact cause is not really understood. The second type is androgenic alopecia, and this type of hair loss is thought to be caused by genetics and hormones, in particular androgens. However, it is less understood in female cases. And researchers found that actually it's not increase in the amount of hormones or androgens, but rather the increased sensitivity to those hormones. NICE guidelines, which is a set of evidence-based guidelines, which I personally use a lot of anyway, and I know many of my colleagues do, they do talk about this particular alopecia. And what they say is that in women with this type of hair loss, the hair loss is more diffuse, so it's not localized. In women, it mainly affects the top of the scalp, versus in men where it affects the front and sides of the scalp, and then progresses towards the back of the head. So ultimately, there are more hairs in the telogen versus the anagen phase, so you're more likely then to lose hairs or shed hairs. The last type I'm going to talk about is telogen effluvium. So like above, more hairs fall out because more hairs are in the telogen phase. And in approximately 30% of people, there is no cause found. There are a number of causes, such as weight loss, dietary changes, Hormonal changes during childbirth, in contrast to in pregnancy, where the opposite happens, the menopause and thyroid disturbances. Now, the thyroid is a small gland in your neck that affects your metabolism. I found a really great resource called alopecia.org.uk. I will put the link in the description box below. If you feel you are suffering from alopecia or just want to know more, then like I said, that's a really good resource and I suggest that you check it out. So let's talk about what you can do to improve your hair growth based on my own experience and some of the information above. I'm now going to talk about factors that affect hair growth, including my own experience and some of the cases that I've seen and treated. Number one is genetics. You can't really control genetics, so that's a big factor. And of course, hormones, like we've seen above. However, there are many things you can do to optimize your hair growth and the strength or quality of your hair. So let's talk about nutrition. Nutrition is very important. It is crucial to have a balanced diet, and what I believe is having things in moderation. For most people with hectic lifestyles, it is difficult to get the right balance of nutrients into your diet and to do this consistently. Therefore, it might be worth considering supplementing with multivitamins. I personally take multivitamins every day or every other day if I forget, and this is the biggest thing that I have noticed that has helped my hair growth. So I'm not going to talk over every single vitamin and mineral in detail, but I will focus on a few very briefly. So in order to do this video and to do it well and to bring you evidence-based information, I did a bit of research and I found a really good paper which was published in 2019. So the authors conducted a literature review of a lot of articles found in PubMed and Google Scholar. So they looked at a number of different articles, research, investigating the relationship between vitamins and minerals and hair loss. So I found that it was a really good summary, and I'm now going to talk you through some of the main points that I feel will be beneficial to you to help you in your own hair journey. So the first thing to understand is that hair is protein. In particular, it's called keratin. That's the type of protein. Keratin also makes up your skin and your nails. So it makes sense to ensure that you get enough protein into your diet. And just remember that the hair follicle is growing, the cells are rapidly dividing. However, the paper does state the possible impact of amino acids, which make up protein, on hair growth has yet to be elucidated. So let's talk about iron. So there is conflicting evidence. For instance, supplementation is not recommended in alopecia areata versus the other two types of hair loss. But generally, in women with hair loss and iron deficiency, you usually supplement, you usually replace their iron. And certainly in the patients that I've seen that have come to me complaining of, hair loss or hair thinning and shedding and have been iron deficient, I have prescribed iron, or I have directed them to a pharmacy as to where they can buy the suitable iron to replace their stores. And I just want to point out here that if you are iron deficient, then it can take several months for you to replace the iron in your body. So vitamin D supplementation can improve hair loss. It can improve all the above types of alopecia that I spoke about before. The evidence for this comes from hair loss in patients with a particular type of rickets, more specifically vitamin D dependent rickets. And this is where patients will be resistant to vitamin D based on a gene mutation. Now, vitamin C is also important because it helps the absorption of iron. According to the research, vitamin C supplementation is recommended. I just want to point out here that vitamin C deficiency is associated with hair loss on the body versus on the scalp. So you may not know that as humans we can't make vitamin C because we don't have a particular enzyme, and so if you want to increase the vitamin C in your diet, there are a number of foods that have high concentrations of vitamin C. Examples are citrus fruits, potatoes, tomatoes, and green peppers. So I'm now going to spend some time talking about vitamins B, E, zinc, And interestingly, biotin is the only B vitamin produced by the body. So there's not much evidence to suggest that supplementing with the above will actually help hair growth. However, deficiencies in the above have been associated with hair loss. Too much vitamin A and selenium have resulted in hair loss. My last point about nutrition is that crash dieting or restrictive dieting is not advised. And this is because of the high turnover of cells in the hair follicle. So now we got through all of that evidence-based good stuff. I'm now going to talk about my own personal experience and how you can use some of what works for me for your own journey, your own hair care journey. Take a keen interest in what you use to wash your hair, what ingredients are in the shampoo. If you use a conditioner, which you should do ideally, what is in the conditioner? How often do you wash your hair? Some people need to wash their hair every week, every couple of weeks, maybe even more frequently than that. I personally wash my hair every 2 to 4 weeks, and some people might think that actually that's a very long time, but for me and my hair type, that works. I find that if I wash it more frequently, then I start to run into some problems. So I will talk about what I do when I'm not at the salon, because I'm going to do a separate video as to what happens to my hair when I actually go to the salon. When I wash my hair, I use a particular shampoo that I've used for many years. I mean, I use a brand, which I will link to in the description box below. And then I use a leave-in conditioner, which helps me with like detangling and getting rid of all the knots. So like I said, I will leave some of the links to the products that I use to wash and condition my hair in the box below the video. So let's talk about combing and brushing your hair. When I used to comb my hair and brush my hair, I used to be very rough. I used to just get frustrated because I guess of my hair type, it's quite curly, and also because my hair has generally been quite long anyway, so it used to just take me a long time. I must have read or watched a video where someone said you should treat your hair like it's a piece of silk or satin. Ever since I heard that, it made me be more gentle with my hair, so that has definitely helped me over the years. So I only comb my hair once during the washing process. I don't comb it multiple times like I used to do. Again, because I used to get frustrated. And I use a wide tooth comb to comb my hair. But after that, I'll just use my fingers. Really, I don't keep combing my hair, and I wouldn't advise you to either. If you want to know the type of comb I use, again, I'll leave that in the box below. Now let's talk about the use of heat and heat protection. Of course, you can see my hair is straightened, and that's probably how my hair stays for the majority of the year. I do give my hair a break. Usually around summertime, I find that straightening my hair in the winter definitely helps. But when I straighten my hair, even if I do it myself, which is very rare, or when I go to the salon, that's generally the only time it gets straightened. I may straighten it once or twice. Sometimes I have had to straighten it more frequently because of the weather, or something's happened and it's too curly and frizzy and it's just not straight anymore, so I have to obviously straighten it again. And of course, when you straighten or blow dry your hair, you should always use heat protection. I will link again to some of the products that I use when I blow dry and straighten my hair. So protective hairstyles and wrapping your hair at night. I've always wrapped my hair at night. I use a satin head wrap. Protective styles. So I've never been a person to enjoy having my hair like on my face. I like to have my hair back or in a bun or just off my face. So that has always been, I guess, something that's worked in my favor, where my hair has generally been in a protective hairstyle. When you're working as a doctor, your hair has to be has to be tied back. So that has helped me, I suppose. Tied into this point, I would urge you to leave your hair alone. Just give it a break. And some people might find they're struggling to gain length and strength and quality with their hair because they maybe wash it too much, change the styles too frequently perhaps, or dye it too much. I think if you're going to maybe dye your hair, get some support, go to a salon and get advice, or definitely do your research thoroughly if you're going to dye your hair yourself, and then look at how to maintain your hair once it's dyed and how to look after it properly. In one of my vlogs, which you may want to check out, I received a comment about how often do I trim or cut my hair. But I generally get my hair trimmed again when I go to the salon, and it's not that frequent, but I think it's enough. Take the advice of my hairdresser. So I'd probably estimate maybe every 3 to 6 months, if that. So this video is very long, and because I don't want it to be any longer, I thought it would be good to do a second follow-up video. So my last point here is I go to a salon, and if you're not confident in maintaining your hair, you're not really sure where to start, or you just want help, like my hair would take me hours. So I go to the salon for a number of reasons, of course, to help me maintain my hair, but also because of time. So I would recommend going to a hairdresser, or at least doing your research and ensuring you get the right products, right equipment to help maintain and help grow your hair to the length that you want. To end the video, I'm going to give you a preview of what the next video is going to be about. So this portion of the video is sponsored by K-Box. My hairdresser, she puts together boxes tailored to your particular hair type and what will work for you. So in the box there are the products that she uses on my hair, and I will talk about the exact steps that she takes when she washes and blow dries and straightens my hair. So if you're interested in that, then stay tuned. But that's all I'm going to talk about in terms of hair and my own hair care journey and what might benefit you. If you enjoyed that video, then as always, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you in the next video.